It's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. It is Wednesday, July 22nd, and I'm going to jump right into it. So I don't normally do a lot of videos this time of year, and the ones that I do, I traditionally like to do outside in the summer months. This weather up here, this is the time for all of us where we get to go out and get air and sun and all those good things because we know what's coming after October, where we're heading. So again, I don't traditionally do a lot of videos. I feel like this year I've done more in the summer than I normally do, but there's a lot to talk about. So what I want to touch on, though, is a few things, but starting with last week and the week before, I started posting some videos from the Pittsfield Airport. And I've been a big proponent of the airport, Lion Aviation, watching the expansion and the growth at the Pittsfield Airport, I think is fabulous. And it's probably the best performing department. I think it is the best performing department in the city. The airport is that close to not just paying for itself, but starting to generate money. And there have been a couple years where the airport was in the green. Now, they just received or are receiving a grant from the FAA to redo the main taxiway. And I think that's a $2.1 million project, something like that, and a needed one that's going to be better. 99% of you also thought the growth at the airport was a good thing, because this is not just exclusive to Pittsfield. Municipal airports, point-to-point flights with charter services and smaller private jets is expanding nationwide. We're seeing airports like ours add, all sorts of new hubs, expanding hangars for jet traffic, the whole deal. So I have always thought for us, though, in Pittsfield, that airport was key to Pittsfield's growth. Air travel technology is changing also, but that's a different conversation. But the growth at the Pittsfield Airport, I think, is a great thing. There was a few people who are saying just what we need. It's too noisy. It's too this. I mean, I get maybe for some people it is. I try to be sympathetic for that, but it reminds me of like when Balderdash opened at Richmond Pond, and there was a group of residents that didn't want them to have live music and started complaining. They hired a law firm and filed a lawsuit, which of course they lost. It was just insanity. I mean, you can't, a lot of the people say, oh, Pittsfield's this, Pittsfield's that. There's nothing to do here. It's horrible. How do we get more jobs? How do we do this? Well, things like expanding is a part of that. Expanding in a lot of different ways, from entertainment venues to lodging to a better housing market, things to do for visitors and tourists coming into the area. And of course, the airport. That airport sets us apart from any other place in the county. Sure, North Adams and Great Barrington have small municipal airports. You're not seeing jet traffic landing there like we have. And I posted that one video, which was an older video I did from a couple years ago, of a 737 coming in and taking off from the Pittsfield Airport. Some of the Gulfstreams that come in and out of there, some of the ones that Lion Aviation operates, like we have G5s and G6s. There's G6 extended range, which is a good sized plane that I've seen them come in and out of there. That is a good thing. That opens up all sorts of possibilities for the city. It makes us more attractive to companies wanting to come here because, decades and decades ago, we missed out on being attached to the turnpike and having an exit to Pittsfield. So there's a lot of positives for that growth. And I still think that airport is going to be key to a lot of positive things. Maybe rail service expanding will be part of it also. So anyway, I think the airport, Pittsfield Airport, is a very positive thing. The growth there is a very positive thing. Like I said, landing fees are up. That department, the airport itself, will start generating, not just paying for itself, but generating revenue for the city soon. I would love to see a small little restaurant or a coffee shop or something there at the airport. A lot of municipal airports have added that, which is nice. They have a beautiful little viewing area there. There was an Eagle Scout project where they redid a little patio on top of the hill there where you can go up, have a picnic, hang out, watch the planes come in and out. It's nice. It's a beautiful location. So anyway, I had to mention that. Another thing I want to mention that I saw some people talking about, and I feel like it was propagated by the local paper, was pushing this idea basically that there was some scandal with the closing of Morningside School because the city wanted to take it for a police station. And that's not the case. And I haven't spoke to anybody. Who knows? Maybe the mayor or somebody comes out and says, no, he's wrong. That was the case. But I have been following this for quite some time. And what was put together, when they even thought or looked at having to make the decision to close Morningside, and it wasn't just picked to close it for no reason. The biggest part of all of it, in my opinion, are the numbers of our public school enrollment. Those numbers speak for themselves. Pittsfield Public School enrollment is going down every year. I think at the end of last year, we had about 4,600 students enrolled in the entire Pittsfield Public Schools. I would not be surprised coming into the 26-27 season that you're going to see the Pittsfield Public School enrollment somewhere 44 around there. I see another decline of 150 to 250, somewhere in that range. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just looking at the historics of it, the historical data of it for the past 10 years, and you're seeing these constant declines. It's going to be a blink of an eye before we're below 4,000 for the entire public school systems. So yes, we made the decision and closed Morningside School. When they did that, a comprehensive plan had to be put together to what are we going to do if we close it? We can't just have an abandoned, blighted building. What do we do with the building? There had to be some kind of plan in place for that. A police station, a new police station, is something the city has been talking about for at least 30 years, maybe more. And that's the truth. Maybe 35 years, that's been a discussion that we need a new police station. Our police station now is not too far off from 100 years old. It is completely outdated, completely. And the building needs a ton of work to make it modern. So they put together a plan before to see what they could even do. Because again, you had to have a comprehensive plan of, okay, so say we make the decision to close this school, which I feel like they knew they had to. That part, I'm going to agree with a lot of people on that. The open floor concept is not the way to go. And there's data that shows that it's not working. It's not working compared to all the other schools, and there's national data that shows that that's not the best way to go. Conti will be next, and we know that. We know we're looking at closing more schools, and personally, I believe in 2 to 4 years, somewhere in that range, we're going to be looking at what do we do with PHS? What happens when Pittsfield High School is at 35% capacity? 40% capacity, and you have more than half of that building empty and not being used. How long do you go paying for it? Especially PHS is much like the other buildings. It is in dire need of repair It's old. It's the upkeep. It's old. It's already past its lifespan. That's going to be a huge conversation. And I can already see people saying, oh my God, we can't, it's the history there. But the reality is we're going to have that conversation. We either find a way to put tens and tens of millions of dollars into that building or another use for it or something. But unless we have a huge influx in population, and this data takes an upswing with public school enrollment, and I don't see how that's going to happen, but I guess it could. Then that would change things. But otherwise, we're on that track where we're going to have to look at continually consolidating. The superintendent talked about the Crosby location, and that would be a new building there. And all that plan would be ready for use. I think she said 2031 or 2032, somewhere in that range. So we know there's other schools that we know we're closing. The Morningside situation, again, it had to happen. You just don't have the numbers to support it. And it wasn't the best concept. That open floor concept meant the kids at Morningside were not getting the same education as kids at other schools in the city. And that's not right. It's not right. But ultimately, it's the enrollment. Who's going to pay for all this to keep all these buildings up and going? How do you do that? I don't know how you do that. You have to hit a point where we're going to have to close and consolidate. It's just, that's how it is. And like I said, you're going to see more coming, and I think that discussion with PHS is right around the corner. But as far as the city having a basic outline of putting the Pittsfield Police Department police station there, that was a proposal of, hey, well, we could use the building for this. And that had to be put in place of what we were going to do with this, some ideas of what we were going to do with it before you pull the trigger on closing it. I personally don't even see that happening with the police station. For one, I don't think that's the best location myself. Two, you're talking tens of millions of dollars. I don't think people understand. It's not just, clear out the old classrooms and move in some cops. It's not that simple. You have to move communications over there. It's the work that would have to be done. And then the discussion of putting that right in a residential area like that. Is that the best place for it? I don't think so. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a small substation there and in other areas in the city, but I personally don't see that. And I don't know where we'd get the money. The city is at its levy ceiling as far as borrowing capacity. So we're talking about any kind of construction like that that's going to take place is going to have to be the state and the federal government footing the bill. So if they're willing to say, all right, we've got $30 or $40 million for you to redo one of these buildings, then otherwise, I don't know how it's going to be done. Because look at construction costs. And you're talking about if we're going to move the police station to somewhere and put a new facility in, I don't care if you're using an existing building, you're doing a ton of construction and you want longevity out of that. You're not saying, well, let's do this, and in 20 years we got to move again. You're going to have to make an investment to make that structure suitable and to accommodate the police department for at least 50 to 75 years. So I don't know. I know that some people are pushing that conspiracy theory. I don't see it. Personally, I don't see it. So last but not least, many of you have saw there's an individual that has been posting about her son being dropped off by a Pittsfield public school van on Tyler Street, and people continually blowing by the school bus, even with the red lights flashing, the bus driver honking the horn, the whole deal. That is a confusing one because, for one, I don't think people know the laws. You'd be surprised how many people don't know the rules of the road that drive at all ages. And there's not the arm with the stop sign that comes out on those vans, even though it says Pittsfield Public Schools down the side of it. It has the flashing red lights on the roof, the whole deal. But it's a problem, and it's a problem that happens every day. So I've talked to that individual. I'm also going to speak to the mayor and the police department about it, probably the chief, and see what they have to say, because that's not the only location that this is an issue. During the school season, I get so many messages from people saying that's a massive problem. We're that close to all school buses having cameras on them that will capture that, and that's ultimately what's going to end those problems. People will be fined. Once you're going to be fined, and once there's penalties for breaking rules and things like that, people learn the laws pretty quickly. But that's a tricky one, because I don't think everyone doing it is intentional, but that still doesn't make it okay. It's a dangerous situation. So I'll be following up on that. So that's it for now, everybody. I know there's a lot going on. I won't be doing probably as many of these videos over the next couple weeks, but who knows? Maybe something happens and I will. But I want to really start focusing the next couple weeks on some of the business tour stuff and highlighting some of our other businesses. I have to lose the extra 10 pounds I put on during Pizza Week, but it was worth it. I ate some fantastic pizza. There's still a couple more that I tried to fit in, but scheduling was not the greatest for everybody. It's tough during the summer. So there's that. But I will be following up with some other business, some other things, and who knows, maybe a couple of the pizza places I missed, I'll throw in on that also. So that is it for now. Get out and enjoy the weather. Try to be positive. Try to be happy. You know, it's summertime. Find the good in things. Get involved in the community. Be part of the solution. Be part of the good. You know, and I get it. We have a lot of challenges in the city. It's okay to complain if you follow through and be part of the solution. So that is it for now. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll catch you all in the next few days.